welcome back to another video. I am Ramona, and today we are talking more about angels and experiences and encounters, paranormal encounters. Uh, so we're just gonna get right into it and see what happens, okay? So paranormal encounters. Anyone here has ever had an angel encounter? It seems there's more negative encounters than positive ones. Let's find out. These encounters are so extremely rare, I would akin it to winning the lottery. One story comes to mind where a son is at work and a man appears wants to give a message about his father's ministry. If I remember correctly, it's about the father's plan to shut it down. He tells his father and breaks down in tears, realizing this was an angelic message. I guess they checked the security cameras and apparently no one was there and he was talking to himself. I guess that encounter would constitute as an encounter, where the messenger was an angel. My sister tells me she's seen an angel outside my window. He had a face blurred by light, and he's in white linen with a sword on his left side and a belt that wrapped around his waist. When she was a child, back in our childhood home, she says she's seen a lion outside my window. Seeing lion apparitions can constitute as an angelic encounter. I haven't seen one. Perhaps they know, and I know they're there, and thus no need to show themselves. I prefer it that way. I prefer not to see lions outside my room. Well, yeah, that would be kind of freaky. Kind of cool though too, honestly. You gotta admit. I mean, just seeing a random cool animal outside your yard, I would like that. But then again, I'm weird. Number 2, I believe that I've had a couple of angelic encounters, but they could be coincidence or just really nice people. I do believe that God works his will through people. For example, one day my mom had an urgent feeling of need to buy milk, even though we had plenty of milk. Then she encountered a mother with young children going home without milk because they couldn't afford it. When you have that voice or whatever nagging you in the back of your head to do something, just do it if it's good or harmless. You might find out later if there's a reason. That's true. Story 3. I have had an encounter, apparently. I was about 6 years old. I told my mom about the flying people above my bed. She believes in the paranormal, so she asked me what I meant. I told her that they were nice, and they said they were always watching me. She asked me what they looked like, and I told her that one of the women kind of looked like it seemed like she had seen the ghost. She went to her room, and a little bit later came out with a handful of photos. She laid them down and asked me to look at the people. When I got to the one, it was the old group photo of her grandparents with some of their friends, and I pointed out her grandma and grandpa, having never met them because they passed away before I was born. I was confused on why she seemed upset, but then I talked to her now. She says she wasn't upset, just shocked. I don't see them anymore, but I know they're there. There you go. Story 4. An angel visited my 4-year-old daughter one night in the house I grew up in. We spent the night at my parents' house around Christmas, so that the family could all be together to celebrate. My 4-year-old little girl and I slept in my old room. We were both very happy and having trouble falling asleep. I cuddled up next to her and felt a presence in the room. I have always felt and seen things since I was small. Not sure if it was because I am native or because I was just in tune vibrationally. I look over my shoulder and I see a beautiful spirit, glowing so bright that I could feel it deemed down so we could dim. I think it's supposed to be dimmed down so we could see it. It was neither male nor female, but quite beautiful and strong. It almost cautiously came over to our bed. Normally, if something comes close to me that is out of the norm, I would get up to protect my child, but it seemed to push peace throughout my body. I thought only I could see it until I heard my daughter say, "Mama, do you see what I see?" I said, "Yes, baby. Are you scared?" And she says, "No way." My daughter started reaching for it, and the angel touched her hand. I laid my hand on my daughter's and could feel the warmth, almost like a hot sun rays. Then it basically looked at us like it had known us and loved us forever. It then proceeded to walk around the room. She still talks about the beautiful angel to this day. I thought if I imagined it, there was no way that my daughter did too. I could not see wings in the sense of an angel you see on greeting cards or in art, but it definitely had energy and light flowing in the back that seemed to propel it. It was not a normal human spirit. That's actually a pretty cool one. Number 5, I have 3 stories. Only saw one my whole family saw, and one only my sister saw. We're a very spiritual family. My dad was a Southern gospel singer at the time of the interactions, and my family has a lineage of being connected to the spiritual realm. I myself and I think am a woman, and on my paternal grandmother's side am known for having prophetic dreams, and that same grandmother, as well as my dad, have been involved with exorcisms. All of that is to say we've seen lots of bad stuff, but we know that we are protected by and have seen some of our guardian angels. Well, that's good. I I am fascinated by the concept of, well, one, prophetic dreams, but exorcisms. I would love to study that stuff, but I'm also slightly concerned because I don't know that you want to invite that stuff in unless you're really prepared, and pretty sure I'm not prepared. So, story number 6. Not sure if this counts, but I have two. The first one, I was about 3 to 4 years old at the time. We lived with Grandma, and something in the house didn't want us there. My mother would wake up with what looked like human teeth marks up and down her legs so bad you could count how many teeth they had in their head. One night, I woke up with a man and a woman standing at the foot of her bed talking about taking her home. I begged for them to turn around, and they just ignored me. I told my mama what happened and explained what they looked like. Mama brushed it off as a nightmare until a few nights went by and my grandmother woke up to make her chair, telling her that my mother was safe now and she is home and everything is okay now. I'm 35 now and still don't know what they were talking about, but I do know the biting stopped afterwards. Second story was, in short, when I was in 5th grade, my mother would always pick me up from school to take me back to where she was working, which was at Maryville College cafeteria. We had to run home first, and the high school kid ran the stoplight, and we ended up T-boning his car. My seatbelt came unhooked, and I ended up hitting the front windshield, and it ended up being taken to the hospital. While we were waiting for the scans to come back, my mother asked me what made me drop my head at the last minute as I was heading face first into the window, and just dropped my head as I was confused. I was simply felt a hand grab my face and pull down like like it was trying to protect me. And I figured it was her, since the normal mom move and, throwing your arm across you kind of thing didn't work. She tried to grab me. But she said it was like slow motion all the way to the window breaking. But I did feel a hand grab my face and pull down, and that's what caused me to hit the top of my head instead. Maybe angels? Maybe just luck. I don't know. Hope it helps. That's pretty cool, though. Story number 7. Yes, twice. Also, one demon encounter. The first angel encounter was extremely positive. 7 beings of light lit up my bedroom. I can only describe them as angels. They were male and female and had different facial features that looked human. Their wings were not really wings, but light surrounding them in a way that made them look like wings going up and over, meeting above their heads. A feeling of overwhelming love and joy filled me, and they said, "We will be with you always." I was probably 8 or 9 years old. A few years later was the demon encounter. My sister and I were at my grandmother's house in the guest bed chatting when we should have been sleeping. The window was slightly open as it was a warm night. My sister looked at me with terror in her eyes and said, "I can't move. It feels like something is on my chest." I sat up and looked over at her and saw what looked like a black boar-like creature with red eyes on her chest. I got so angry I yelled, "Get off her!" It looked at me with those red eyes, then leapt out the window. She could move again. In that case, I felt horrible dread and anguish and anxiety when the beast was present. These feelings I felt with each encounter have been extremely helpful to me in my life, telling me, without seeing, when evil or good is present. It's my early alarm system for supernatural events. The last angel encounter may or may not have been really an angel, but I felt that feeling again. I was parked in a parking lot and went to my car to leave after shopping with a bee was buzzing around in my driver's side window. I had a bad history with bees, as they seemed to hate me. My dad was extremely allergic to them. I get stung more than most people. So this bee was dive-bombing me and not letting me get into my car, and I was dodging it so as to not get stung, and I ran around to the passenger side. Behind me, a man showed up. I never saw or heard him approach. He said, "Is that bee bothering you?" I felt silly about it, but said yes, with a nervous laugh. He walked around to the driver's side, then went right back on the other side of the car and said, "It won't be bothering you anymore." I walked around to look, and no bee. Yet he had literally only taken a second on that sidecar, not really enough time to kill the bee, and he never moved his arms or gestured like he did anything at all in that second. It took me a few seconds, and I looked back where he had been to thank him, and he was gone as quickly as he had come. just vanished, and I couldn't figure out how because I would have seen him walking away. But nothing. I felt this sense of peace and calm, which is really what made the whole thing feel supernatural to me. That's interesting. I guess, not everything has to be a huge life-altering, life-saving situation. Just small little gestures that help you out, and can't complain about that. That was actually pretty cool. If you're liking these videos, would you mind hitting the like button? Or maybe just leave a comment for the algorithm, because, we all love algorithms here. And I want to also take a little moment here to say thank you for all the subscribers. I do appreciate it. And on to the next story, number 8. My father claims he saw what looked like a stereotypical vision of an angel being, winged humanoid in white, fly past his apartment balcony in Florida over the roof of a nearby church. He was a normal guy, not very super religious. Swears on his life what he saw what I described zoom up into the sky up over the church. He had been chilling, having a drink on his balcony with his girlfriend at the time, but her back was facing the view. Well, okay. Number 8. Not quite an encounter, but some say your guardian angels let you know they are watching you when they think they aren't. One time I was walking in my house to my garage, so I pack a bowl, and out of nowhere, middle of walking, I felt like someone had put their hand on my shoulder. It made me stop instantly. I stood there for a second and turned around to see no one was there, so I called out to my fan to see where everyone was. I'm assuming that means family. And where everyone was at and what they were doing. They were all in their own rooms doing their own things, and I was the only one in the hall and living room. To sum it up, my guardian angel is letting me know I'm being watched. Well, sometimes that's what you need. You just need to know that somebody else is there. Story 9. Many years ago, I became a single mother after some terrifying violence and blah, blah, blah. Fast forward a little bit, and the divorce. A friend from college moves to town, and of course, it's awesome. Always nice to see friends move close. Super nice guy, never fails to be there for friends. Best hugs, every face just lights up when he says hi. When I would get concerned about the threats and stuff, I'd call him and another of our friends. He would sit out in the parking lot of my condo in his truck with a video camera to collect evidence if the ex shows up, sometimes all night. So at a summer barbecue party with a bunch of friends, someone makes a joke he and I should get married because we are both love lost and we would make a friendship marriage. We all laughed and started talking about it. It got really, really, really interesting. He had lost his soulmate after college. Heartbreaking. They loved each other so, so, so much. Then they bring it up. It turned into a whole responsible possibility. A different kind, for all the benefit of the child who was a toddler by then. We decided to do it. 4 months later, he gets diagnosed with a super rare cancer. If I recall, maybe 60 cases ever identified. So MD Anderson takes his case. Maybe that is significant. He gets a medical flight the next day. Intake a commercial flight a few days later. I'm in the plane heading to Texas, above the clouds, cruising. I look out the window. There is a cloud base below the plane, and pretty much all you can see. Growing up out of the cloud floor are 3 gargantuan cloud angels. I'm not taking the sort of make it out, I mean. Straight up, all the same, kneeling on one knee, heads lowered, wings lowered beyond pointing up. Praying hands. They are absolutely gargantuan. I'm stunned. Jaw-dropping stunned. Others see it and gets oohed. Oh my gosh, people are watching it. I arrive where I'm supposed to go to the hospital, get to his room. As we catch up about our flights, etc., he tells me he saw these gigantic angels praying in the sky on the way there. We compare notes. We saw the exact same thing. Different days, different flights. He did pass away, though, which we both figured due to the kind of cancer. The last thing he said to me was, "It's time for me to go soon, and they will be in the sky the day it's time. You'll know it. It will be okay." A week later, I saw it in the sky. I had to pull off the road and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed, and just watch it slowly drift and change and become a cloud again. Oh, man. That's an intense one. Very emotional. It's crazy how different people's experiences lead them to different, that could be quite sad, but it also could be quite reassuring. Just however you want to take it. Story 10. I believe an angel saved me and my 2 friends from something evil. That was over 10 years ago. We were outside hanging out in the front yard of a friend's home. They lived on the other side of a block with a row of bars, so even on the other side we could hear the bustle of music and cars and people. The weather was cold and dreary, and a drizzle had begun, but we didn't mind. It was about 2 a.m., and we noticed a car slowly drive down the street and turn the corner. Then it did it again, but the car was a little closer to us, going over the line. We all noticed, and we thought it strange, but strange even so we didn't leave. Then it drove by a third time, and we tried to look into it, but we couldn't see through the darkened windows. Then another car came by and parked about 20 feet from us. A guy got out and walked over to us. He was smiling and just started talking to us. He appeared to be in his 40s, a little rugged in basic clothes. He borrowed a cigarette from us, and while we talked, I noticed that he was looking at the road, and he was walking across us until he reached about 20 feet on the opposite side of where we were, and then walked back. Again, he asked if we wanted to hear a song. We were anxious, but agreed, and he sang. It was beautiful. Nothing we'd ever heard, but we knew that it was beautiful. He then said he needed to leave and find a place to get some gas. We offered him some money, but we only had $3 on us. He smiled and thanked us, walked away, and stopped, and asked, "Isn't it neat there were 3 of us, and we had $3 to give?" It was at this time I noticed I wasn't cold anymore, and that the drizzle wasn't hitting me even though I could see it from across the street. I noticed his license plate as he left, and it read GMU 333. We stood there for a moment, trying to register what had happened, and then shortly after he left us, we noticed the first car, the dark one, sitting on the street end. It turned into the street towards us again, but this time it was all the way in the lane closest to us. It made it to where the man had walked out, and then in a fit he veered away from us, the car shaking like turning it back to us, but couldn't, and lasted until he passed where the man had parked, and we noticed the inside of the car was shrouded in darkness except for his eyes. They were bright yellow. We never saw the car again. I believe there was evil in that car. I believe it was trying to get to us, and then an angel stopped and protected us. I think so too. That sounds like a pretty logical conclusion there. But let me know what you think in the comments if you'd like to. I do appreciate you all listening, and please go watch another video, listen to another video, and until next time, I appreciate you all here. Talk to you later. Bye.